Hi there, I'm Steve Best, Howe Sound Marine Trail Steward for the Sea Kayak Association of BC, and I'm going to take you along on a little tour of the activity that's been going on in Howe Sound this year. Once again, while COVID-19 slowed down a lot of other club activity, work in Howe Sound has been chugging along. So welcome to Howe Sound 2021. Apodaca Provincial Park is a project that Nick Heath has been working on for a long time, and it's finally beginning to bear fruit. An archaeological assessment in 2019 cleared the way for work to actually begin. In the fall of 2020, Nick applied for and received a Park Enhancement Fund grant to build a trail from the beach up the hill to tent platform locations in the upland. So Nick and I paddled over in December to lay out the trail. In February, Nick, our contractor Danny, and his son Samuel camped out on the site and built the trails, as well as a kayak storage rack just above the beach. Nick has since received another Park Enhancement Fund grant to build 4 tent platforms at Apodaca. The cedar for these platforms is currently being milled, and they will be built by volunteers once First Nations consultations are complete. The next development in Howe Sound was the establishment of the Howe Sound team, with site stewards recruited for each of the 6 recreation sites that SCA-BC looks after. The 6 site stewards are Cynthia Kennedy for Ramillies Channel, Philip Kubik for Bain Creek, Kevin Hall for Thornborough Channel, Brian Pegg for Islet View, Mike McComb for Zorro Bay, and Dave Beresford, the Bear, for Tantalus Landing. The site stewards and their teams have carried out spring, summer, and fall site inspections at their sites, replenished wood shavings at sites that need them, as well as carrying out work parties at some of the sites. In March, I accompanied 4 staff from Recreation Sites and Trails BC on a tour of all 6 sites. The staff included the district recreation officer, who hadn't been out to the sites since the trail opened in 2015, his assistant, and a danger tree assessor. Subsequent to the tour, a wildfire crew went to the sites and cut down the danger trees. On the same trip, 4 giant bags of wood shavings were dropped off at the sites that needed them. The shavings had been collected by Cynthia Kennedy, Ramillies Channel site steward, who is taking a woodworking course. At Bain Creek, the wildfire crew left a real mess, with a giant tree and all its branches down across the creek. A work party, led by Philip Kubik and Nick Heath, cleaned up the branches, built more stairs, and started a kayak rack. The remaining tree trunk in the creek bed was too big for us to tackle, and there was concern that in the winter rains it could cause flooding and scouring of the creek bank. Recently, a crew from RSTBC went to Bain and removed the section of trunk blocking the creek. After the completion in 2020 of 4 composting toilets at the recreation sites that didn't yet have toilets, we thought we could take it easy in 2021 and just build a couple of tent platforms. We had Todd Nichols, the same contractor who built 5 of our composting toilets, mill lumber for 2 platforms. and stored it at the RSTBC Works Yard in Squamish while we waited for COVID to settle down and everyone to get double vaxxed. But we weren't going to get to take it easy. Tony Rainbow, past chair and current councillor with the Squamish Lillooet Regional District Council, and himself a sea kayaker, contacted us last fall saying, "I am looking for projects that enhance recreational opportunities in the SLRD and that can also provide local employment, so the Marine Trail could be a good fit." In March, the council approved a $10,000 grant to be spent on the only Marine Trail site in their regional district, Zorro Bay. Todd Nichols milled the lumber for 3 tent platforms, a second picnic table, and a couple of signposts. At the end of August, Todd made a raft out of the lumber and towed it from Porto Cove to Zorro Bay with a rented powerboat. The following week, Todd took his tools, camping gear, and one of his helpers, Levin, to Zorro Bay in a Zodiac, while his other helper, Josh, and I paddled over in kayaks. Here's Todd assembling the outer frame of the platform with Josh, then propping it in place with help from Levin. Drilling boulders for footings, assembling support columns, and beams, joists going in, and the decking goes on. The completed platform, and a second platform, just needing to have the ends of the decking trimmed off. When I returned the next day, the third tent platform was nearing completion. Because it's on a steeper site, this platform needed a guardrail. Claire calls this platform the condo. Here's the completed picnic table, with feet that float on the gravel. At the end of the day, they loaded their tools and gear in the Zodiac, which didn't leave room for Todd. So he got back to Porto, being towed on his hydrofoil surfboard. And yes, this clip proves that there are times when Howe Sound is calm. After receiving the SLRD grant, Valhalla Pure Outfitters in Squamish approached us with a $9,000 grant from their Valhalla Squamish Trail Fund to build 5 tent platforms at 2 sites, Tantalus Landing and Islet View. That's Murray Sovereign, owner of the Squamish Valhalla Pure, rock climber and a keen trail builder and paddler. Dave Beresford, the Tantalus site steward, deserves credit for putting us together with Murray. We already had the cedar for 2 platforms waiting in the RSTBC yard in Squamish, so we ordered the cedar for 3 more platforms and ordered a water taxi to deliver the lumber. Unfortunately, Todd wasn't able to mill the new cedar in time to meet our timeline, so we scrambled. SCABC member Richard Jensen came through with another timber supplier in Surrey, who was able to mill the cedar and deliver it to Squamish, just in time to meet the water taxi. 7 volunteers, 4 from SCA BC and 3 from Valhalla Pure, loaded the cedar, tools, and other materials and delivered it in 2 shuttles. 3 platforms worth to Tantalus Landing, and 2 platforms worth to Islet View. We had hoped to build the platforms this fall, but poor weather and other commitments intervened. So the lumber has been tarped for the winter. These platforms will be built by volunteers in the spring, or sooner if weather and availability permit. Meanwhile, on Gambier Island, SCA BC member Trudy Vanderberg has a cabin that she has generously offered for use by SCA BC members as a destination and a base for trips and courses. In return, SCA BC is helping with the maintenance of the cabin. So far, we have helped with re-roofing the cabin and installing a new wood stove chimney, and with delivering a new wood stove to the site via this barge. Once again, lead on this project has been Nick Heath. And in August, Nick led a group of SCA BC paddlers on a trip to the cabin. This cabin is an incredible resource for the club, and I hope to see the club put it to good use in the coming year. It looked like some of our visitor logbook cases were leaking, with the logbooks getting soaked and mildewed. In response, Deb Merchant's husband, Richard, built these amazing little houses for the logbooks. Here you see one installed at Tantalus Landing. Unlike the previous cases, these are very user-friendly, and I'm sure they will do a great job of keeping the logbooks dry. That concludes our look at the year in Howe Sound. It has been another productive year, and we look forward to more to come in 2022.